All right, have not fans. This is wow. I have at least three have not videos to do because a lot of people kept leaving the comment of the same thing. This video is going to be about Quita. Why did she tell Veronica the hood was plotting against her? Why didn't she just not say anything at all? Is this going to ruin the hood's plot? Because she pretty much dropped dime on them to Veronica. She didn't exactly say what was going to happen. She just knows that the hood is plotting against her, which honestly does make sense for the fact of her being in jail and probably being around people from the hood in there. And well, these people do hear a lot, so they have eyes and ears everywhere. I mean, they're not exactly the Malones, but word on the street is they know what's going on. Or she could have just heard about this before she was arrested for, what was it, domestic abuse or something like that. Well, then again, domestic abuse, I'm assuming that's in relation to her boyfriend, baby daddy Real, who was the guy that was hired to do the bombing of Erica's car. So, well, yeah, then again, it's only been a few days. So, yeah, they probably could have, whatever. They've been in jail for a while. So, anyway, why didn't Quita not say anything? Okay. Story purposes, let's be honest here. Let's get the obvious one out of the way. The fact that the story needed to be pushed forward so Veronica kind of prepares for what to expect. Now, you could also look at, okay, from looking at a non-writer standpoint, like if I'm not, not looking at it through the perspective of Tyler Perry, because I'm actually kind of glad that he put that in the story, but he probably could have rewrote it in a different way. So Veronica's fall would be actually pretty damn good. Now, here's what I mean. We didn't need Quita to tell Veronica that the hood was plotting against her. What we could have used was, let's say, Quita gets out of jail. And, Real is still locked up and everything. So maybe she goes to see him because, remember, I believe Veronica is going to see Real possibly due to the fact that she got she got Quita to write that note. So I'm going to assume that Veronica either in person or she gets a messenger to give the note to Real for her. So let's say that Veronica goes to see Real with that ratchet handwriting, that ratchet masterpiece of Quita's, and gives it to Real. And let me say it this way. If Veronica takes that note and goes to see Real, and Real is able to decipher what it said, I know that's going to be a hilarious scene in itself. Because Veronica is like, this ratchetness, I can't even. I know she's going to say it because remember, she asked that white man, can you understand this? Or could you read this? No. And then you have Real being able to read it. That would be hilarious. But what I'm saying is maybe Quita could have went to see Real or whatever. Or let's say Veronica goes to see Real and gives the note. And then, she leaves thinking that they're on good terms. Like, don't worry, Veronica, you got Quita out of jail. I'm not going to drop dime on you. And maybe there's an arrangement where Veronica gets someone to actually represent Real so he can get out of jail. But then, when Veronica leaves, let's try something different. Instead of Veronica being the one lurking around, why not have Quita be the one that's kind of in the shadows? So when Veronica leaves Real, Quita goes in there, and then we get a scene between those two. And then they kind of, chuckle about the fact that the hood is still working against Veronica. Because remember that one guy, Riddell, basically the main thug, one of his brothers was one of the two guys that was shot at David's place. He was like, can you pay for the funeral? And then what about their kids? Like, I'll start a college fund for the little bastards. So why not have it so even though Veronica, I guess you could say, has been doing what the hood has requested, that doesn't mean that they're not going to conspire against her because of the fact that working with her leads to them either being dead or put behind bars, and she doesn't give a damn because we're her pawn. So they will be plotting against her. And the way to actually execute, not necessarily kill, but execute the plan to plot against Veronica. Remember that one thug who was in Veronica's house? He was like the last one to leave next to Riddell. He was the one that Veronica had stopped and said, hey, you take a shower and do something with your hair and get my number from him and call me. Now, that would be a great way to lead to the Trojan horse scenario where Veronica prepares the house for the guy to come over. He comes over, and because of her lust, she actually falls into a trap. Kind of like, when Candace had Jim abducted, when she's like, hey, I'm sorry, meet me in the front of your house in the, the front lawn. and he goes out there in war, and his crew take him out. You know, they throw him in the trunk. Oh yeah, that's right. It's kind of funny because Candace was thrown in the trunk by Charles's crew, just like Jim by Warlock's crew. I just thought of that. So basically, where you go from there is like the dude comes in, Veronica thinks they're about to get it on, but the guys just roll in and then they do whatever they do to Veronica, whether it be um they take her away or they pretty much put the house on lockdown, whatever you want to call it. And Veronica is screwed. Like, she'll have to pull a Jim Cryer and pay millions of dollars to get out of this mess. But remember, Katherine confirmed that Veronica has a lot of debt. She isn't as rich as she perceives herself to be. It's probably one of those scenarios where Veronica's name looks good on paper, but it really is like, it looks like it's worth a lot on paper, but it's really not a lot at all. Because Katherine said, you know, I have a larger share at the bank or whatever than you do. So with the right phone calls, I can shut down everything you have. So one could assume that Veronica would actually need Katherine's help. Let's say Katherine gets out of jail thanks to Marty. It might take a while, but let's say Marty gets Katherine out of jail. So then, you know, the thugs give Veronica like one phone call or something like that. And she calls Katherine, the person that she left behind bars, the person she said, bitch, I don't know you. Bitch, I don't need you. I would love to see that humbling moment where Veronica needs Katherine's help to get out of her current situation, whether it be like a ransom or whatever. And then Katherine just throws one of the lines back at you, bitch, I don't know you. And it's like, well, you're in hell now. Remember when you said I was behind bars and that was hell? Well, I hope you now know what hell is. And then she hangs up the phone, and then Veronica is in a very compromising position. So all I'm saying is, guys, this isn't a rant video. I hope you all like this video, because this isn't me going on and on about Veronica, getting out of every scenario. This is me saying that if there was ever a time for Veronica to experience, I guess you could say, a humbling defeat, this is what I'm talking about. Now, that's not to say that if she does get out of a scenario where those people from the hood take her down or whatever, that she won't try to retaliate. Well, that's in her character. Plus, I'm not just going to say Veronica. That's pretty much everyone in the show, where they get one-upped by people that they've either deceived or treated like trash, and then they try to get back at them even stronger. But you have to realize, hopefully Veronica walks away from this experience from the likes of Alice, Katherine. Remember, Alice was her maid that quit. Alice, Katherine, Derek, and so many other people that she's treated like trash. Just thrown, like, you know, or even like Real and, you know, these other people she works with from the hood. Like, she uses them for this specific reason, but then either doesn't pay them or treat them like dirt. And then she realized that she needs people instead of just shoving them away. Like Derek and George will say in the next episode, you know, your arrogance and everything is going to catch up with you one day. I honestly think that Quita not saying anything would have worked if it was written where, you know, her and Real have a scene where we know the hood's conspiring against her, and then the one dude that she was attracted to ends up being a Trojan horse, so the other guys could abduct her or whatever they want to do with her, and then she has to call someone like Katherine, and guess what? Katherine's not going to help her because you didn't help her when she needed it. Or you could make the argument that the puzzle pieces could come into effect. Remember the one she has on Katherine, Jim, and David, that if anything happens to her, then their lives will be hell. So that could almost be like an uneasy alliance, because as Katherine has said time and time again, sometimes the W know is better than the W don't. So I could see Katherine and Veronica possibly teaming up just for the sake of not only getting Veronica out of this mess, but once again knowing that they need each other. Like, they'll have their banter, there is never a Katherine Veronica scene without the banter, but at the same time, it does show that there are strength in numbers, and those uneasy alliances are typically the ones that you need in order to not only surprise the opponent, because they would never expect two or more certain individuals to work together, but you are able to accomplish so much more together than apart. So I really do hope that, well, then again, I can't really, well, no. I don't want to say I can only hope and then not hope, because I don't know what Tyler Perry is going to do with this. But flipping back to the OG question, why did Quita say anything? I think it has to do with the way Veronica was talking down to her, and then the fact that this is probably the first time that she had seen Veronica a bit nervous or scared. Because remember, she's like, and it's kind of like, you know, I remember reading this somewhere in a was it a manga? I think it was Dragon. I think it was when Babidi was talking about Fat Boo when Goku was there. It's like that's the problem with these dumb ones. They always start to end up trying to think. And that was Quita when she was writing that note. It was like, wait, why you want me to write this note? Are you scared, huh? Because, why are you getting me out? It's only because, Real told you to, right? And then, it has to do with the whole situation about dropping dimes. So even though Quita is dumb, she's still street smart. So basically, Veronica looking down on her and talking down on her, but Quita was living in the moment. So she decided to dig the knife in even further. It's like, oh, you scared now? Well, guess what? The hood, they plotting against you. So even though Quita really shouldn't said anything, I see why she said something simply because of the fact that she wanted Veronica afraid. So yeah, you could talk to me like dirt, treat me like trash, but at the end of the day, you're going to pay in some way, shape, or form. So Veronica's threats are pretty empty. I mean, because remember, she says, if any of your thug hood friends come after me, but Veronica, what are you going to do? Who are you going to call up to help you out? Because like I said in another video, at least I'm pretty sure I said in another video, most of the people that she has on that piece of paper that Derek gave her are from the hood, the gutter. So it's likely, and I don't know, you never know. It's likely that if she does try to call up some of the people from that sheet of paper or that list that Derek gave her, those are probably people that are already plotting against her without her knowing it. So again, a Trojan horse scenario. Let's say she calls up like 8 of these guys. I have no idea how many people are on that list, but let's say she calls up 8 of these guys to try to protect her or whatever the situation is. But guess what? Those guys are working with the guys plotting against you. So either way, you're screwed. It's almost like a game of mine, a game I haven't played since my dial-up days on the internet. Minesweeper. It's like you can't really see the bombs around you, but you just know if you click any button at random, guess what? You're probably surrounded, then you die. That's pretty much where Veronica is right now. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. This is actually a pretty fun video to do. Do you think Quita should have kept her mouth shut? Do you like my what if scenario of those thugs, kidnapping Veronica and getting ransom, but she calls Katherine, who doesn't want to help her? I think that would be a great way to flip the season on its head, where at first Veronica's seemingly all powerful, but guess what? All these people who are warning her about the dangers of being overconfident and arrogant, finally it comes to pass and karma bites Veronica in the ass. I'm not saying she necessarily has to be dead, but if you watch my video about what will Veronica do when the hood turns against her, I think this is a good part too. So make sure you subscribe, check me out on social media. Links are in the description below. And with that being said, folks, I'll catch you all in the next video.